4 years ago, you could qualify for Mexico's retirement visa with about $2,000 a month. In 2026, that same visa asks for roughly $4,400, more than double. And on January 1st, Mexico doubled the government card fees on top of it. Overnight. Here's the part that matters if you're planning around a Social Security check. The average check is $2,064 a month. That does not qualify anymore. But there's a second path, a savings route, that most people don't plan for until it's too late. It has a 12-month clock, and if Mexico is on your list, that clock should probably start today. In the next 12 minutes, the real 2026 numbers for the temporal resident visa, income route, and savings route. The step-by-step process from consulate appointment to the card in your hand, with every government fee itemized. What happens after year 1, including the 4-year path to permanent residency? And the one rule change from 2025 that quietly worked in retirees' favor, because it's not all bad news. Every number is sourced in the description. First, what happened? In July 2025, Mexico's foreign ministry published new guidelines changing how economic solvency is calculated, away from Mexico's fast-rising minimum wage over to a slower index called the UMI. You don't need to remember the acronym. You need to remember what it produces. For the temporal resident visa, the standard route for retirees who aren't ready for permanent residency, the income requirement in 2026 works out to roughly $4,400 a month. You prove it with official bank statements covering the last 6 months, and the income needs to show up every month. Pensions, Social Security, annuities, rental income all count. 2 honest footnotes. 1. Consulates apply their own exchange rates, so the exact figure varies, typically somewhere between $4,300 and $4,500, and requirements can differ between consulates by up to 10%. You apply at a Mexican consulate in the U.S., so call yours, and get their number before you build a plan around mine. 2. And this is the strange good news. The switch to the UMA index actually helped. Mexico's minimum wage jumped 13% this year. Under the old formula, the income bar would have landed around $5,100. The new index rises only 3 to 4% a year, so the bar should climb slowly and predictably from here. But let's be plain about it. For a single retiree on an average Social Security check, $4,400 a month is out of reach. Which brings us to the route that still works. The temporal visa has a second qualification path, and for most retirees watching this channel, it's the realistic one. Savings and investments of roughly $74,000, you need one path or the other, not both. The rules are strict in a very specific way. The balance must stay at or above the threshold for 12 unbroken months before you apply, and the consulate will want statements proving it. Not an average. Not most months. Every single month. One temporary dip below the line, moving money to buy a car, covering a family emergency, and your 12-month clock restart. 3 practical rules from people who've done this. Keep a cushion. If the target is $74,000, hold 80 or more, because exchange rates move and consulates round in their own favor. Keep the money somewhere that produces clean monthly statements. A brokerage or bank account, not a house, because home equity doesn't count. and start the clock before you're sure about Mexico. The 12 months is the longest lead time in this whole process. If Mexico is even on your short list, arranging the accounts now costs you nothing and buys you the option. 401. Ks and IRAs generally work for this. Consulates want to see the balance history, and retirement accounts produce exactly that. Here's the full sequence, start to finish. Step 1. The consulate. You book an appointment at a Mexican consulate in the United States. Appointments in some cities book out weeks or months, so this is your second clock. You bring your passport, the application form, a photo, and your financial statements. The consulate fee is $56. If approved, often the same day, sometimes within 10 business days, you get a visa sticker in your passport. Step 2. The 180-day window. That sticker is valid for one entry into Mexico within 6 months. You don't have to move yet, but the next clock starts the moment you cross the border. Step 3. The kanji. Within 30 days of entering Mexico, you must start the exchange, the kanji, at an office of the EMM, Mexico's Immigration Institute, trading the sticker for your actual residency card. This deadline is hard. Miss it and you're starting over at the consulate. While the card is in process, expect 8 to 16 weeks, and you'll need permission to leave the country during that window without abandoning the application. Step 4. The card and the bill. This is where January's change bites. The 1-year temporal card now costs about 11,100 pesos, roughly $610, double last year's fee. All in, your first-year government costs run about $670, plus whatever you spend on document preparation. A facilitator or immigration lawyer typically adds several hundred to 1,000 more. Optional, but many retirees consider it money well spent for the NM state. End-to-end. Consulate appointment to card in hand. Plan on 3 to 6 months. Your first card lasts 1 year. After that, you renew it in inside Mexico. No consulate. And here's the relief. Renewals don't require you to reprove your income or saving. You qualify once at the consulate. Renewals are paperwork and fees. About $900 for a 2-year extension or $1,200 for 3 years at the new 2026 rate. Add it up and temporal status can carry you 4 years total. At the 4-year mark, you convert to permanent resident, no new financial test at conversion, a change of status fee of about $100, plus the permanent card at roughly $740. Permanent means permanent, no more renewals, ever. Now the shortcut and a genuinely important 2025 rule change. Mexico now restricts direct permanent residency applications from abroad to retirees and pensioners only. Remote workers and freelancers lost that door. If you're retired, you still have it. The bar is high, roughly $7,300 a month in pension income, or about $294,000 in savings held for 12 months. But if you clear it, you skip the entire temporal ladder and its stack of renewal fees in one move. For everyone else, the temporal route is the road. And honestly, a 1-year commitment before you're locked in is not a bad thing. It's a built-in test drive. If you're applying as a couple, the rules have moved recently and consulates differ, so treat this as a map, not gospel. The common pattern. The primary applicant qualifies on the full numbers, and each dependent adds an additional monthly income requirement, figure roughly $1,400 more per month, though some consulates handle spouses through a family unit process with different math. The bright spot is real. Family unit applicants get a 50% discount on the government card fees, which takes meaningful sting out of January's increase. Ask your specific consulate how they handle spouses before you book anything. 2 more pieces of fine print from this year. In-offices are asking for more proof of address in Mexico than they used to. Often 2 documents like a rental contract plus a utility bill. So keep every paper from your first weeks in the country. Wow! And family unit processing inside Mexico has slowed, with some offices doing home visits. None of this is a crisis. All of it rewards the retiree who shows up organized. The honest scorecard. The case from Mexico's visa. Once you're in, the system is predictable. Renewals without reproving income, a clean 4-year road to permanent status, and the whole thing runs 3 to 6 months, faster than many countries in this series. The retiree-only direct permanent door is a real advantage this audience uniquely holds. And Mexico itself remains the easiest landing in Latin America. 200 flights a day home, enormous expat infrastructure, and your cost of living once you're there hasn't changed the way the visa had. The case against the financial bar has more than doubled in 4 years. And at $4,400 a month, the income route now excludes the average Social Security retiree entirely. That's not spin, that's arithmetic. The savings route works, but demands a year of discipline before you even apply. Fees doubled overnight in January, which tells you Mexico is comfortable raising the cost of entry. Plan for that direction, not the reverse. And the consulate-to-consulate variation means 2 neighbors can be quoted different numbers for the same visa, which is exactly as frustrating as it sounds. Compare the neighbors. Panama's pensionado wants $1,000 a month. Ecuador's about $1,350. Mexico is now the premium door on the street. Whether it's worth the premium depends on what you need to be near. And for a lot of Americans, the answer to how fast can I get home is worth real money. If Mexico's bar surprised you, the Panama Pensionado video is the natural next watch. $1,000 threshold and a very different process linked below, along with the Panama budget and healthcare videos. Tell me in the comments, which route would you take? The 4,400 income bar, the 74,000 savings route, or does Panama suddenly look better? And if you've been through a Mexican consulate recently, tell us which one and what number they quoted you. That consulate by consulate map is gold for everyone reading. If you want the real numbers on retiring in Latin America, not the brochure version, subscribe. That's what this channel does. The short version. Income route, about $4,400 a month, over 6 months of statement. Savings route, about $74,000 held for 12 unbroken months. Start that clock early. $56 at the consulate. About $610 for the card. 30 days to do the kanji once you land. 4 years of temporal, then permanent. Verify your consulate's exact numbers before you plan. And see you in the next one.